Yeah, man, what an unbelievable situation for us to be able to play a team of Virginia's magnitude at home. The history, I've watched them for years, the history Coach Bennett has there, the culture, the championship, and to have them in our own building, man, it was just a dream come true for me, just being a basketball fan. And then secondly, to be able to score 77 points on a Virginia team, it just doesn't happen. I'm super proud of that, and then to hold them to 22 points in the second half. I mean, this is storybook for me because I have so much respect for him and his program.
Hey, Coach, in the first half, I think Caleb did a lot of little things that won't show up in the box score. Talk about his play and what it meant to get you guys back in the game and above.
Caleb is doing a phenomenal job of really noticing what's going on the court and being very vocal in the huddle, and then getting out on the court and making winning plays the entire game. He doesn't get enough credit because he's pretty much sacrificed his scoring for defense and leadership and being vocal, which is worth way more to me because he wants to win, and he's showing that every night.
Penny, you mentioned the 77 points. I think midway through the second half they had abandoned the pack line and played zone. What did you do as a half-court offense or just an offense in general, especially after halftime where it seemed like you were getting looks very few people get against that defense?
Yeah, I put a package in. We only had a couple days to prepare for them, but I know them enough because I've watched them forever, because I studied in high school to see why they were so good at what they did. And I put a package of plays together that I felt like would really help us get an advantage in certain situations, and it worked. And the guys executed it, and we made shots, and it made it harder for them to stay, in the pack line.
Coach, great win. 2 questions. What is this team identity now since we're 9-2, and what's it been like to have a scorer like David Jones, and previously you had Kendrick Davis?
Yeah, our identity is defense. That's who we are. We are a disruptive team. That's our identity. When you play Memphis, look for disruption. That's who we want to be because we want to be the aggressor. And it's a true blessing to have David Jones after having Kendrick Davis last year and DeAndre Williams. David and Kendrick are similar in their mindsets because they don't think anyone in America can guard them. And their confidence is always high, and they play with that aggression that you just can't teach that. So it's been a blessing to have him this year.
Obviously, you guys started out the game on that 13-1 run, and then Virginia ended up outscoring you guys for the remainder of the first half to make it kind of a close game at the half. How was your team able to respond in such an emphatic way in the second half to finish with a blowout win?
Well, I have to give credit to Jordan Verhulst because we pulled clips from the first half every game, and we watched them at halftime, and we just saw what we were doing wrong, and we just made those corrections and came out in the second half with more energy and just kind of tightened things up a little bit.
Penny, from a broad perspective, what does it take for you to force Virginia to play y'all's style of basketball? Speed them up, force turnovers, scoring transition, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you pretty much have to disrupt that offense that they have that's so efficient. You got to double team the ball. You got to, be active on the ball, try to force them to drive, and then everyone stay home. It's just you have to, mix up so many different things and have the mentality that it doesn't matter if they get an open look as long as the ball finds the right person that we want to find. So our thing is the top players, we're going to try to take you out. And we're going to try to and the ball found the right people for us in the second half. And that's what makes us different when we start playing really good defense.
Program officially announced for the game, Naquan Tomlin joining the program. What will he bring? I mean, obviously you're rolling right now. What will he bring to the table as a player for this team moving forward? And what sort of, how are you going to integrate him into things now that he's here?
Well, I'll talk defensively first. He can guard 1 through 5. He's a rim protector. He's an unbelievable rebounder. And then on the flip side of it, he's a playmaker. He's a rim runner. He gets out and he flies. He can make plays, and he can shoot. So for me, You just put him out there and then let him get his feet wet, and then we just work around him. He'll know what we like to do, and the guys will talk him through it because we have a great group of guys that will talk him through it. I think his naturally God-given talent will just take over in areas.
Do you think, like, Vanderbilt game he could play?
If he's eligible to play, he's going to play in the Vanderbilt game for sure.
And then what does this mean for Jordan Brown moving forward, and what is his current status?
I don't know. We have not turned the page, so I really don't know. I don't know what that means for Jordan.
Coach, obviously just a few days removed from what everyone felt like was a statement win for the season, first home game in a month and a half back here at FedEx Forum. How did this win feel for you and the players? Because it seemed like you guys were much more controlled or just ready to play on your home court.
Yeah, this win means a lot for the things that I stated earlier because of the history of Virginia basketball. I mean, when you think about Virginia, you think about defense, you think about winning, and to have a team that I can't say that barely knows each other, but we're not fully there yet to compete against a team like that and win a game of this, on this level and how we did it, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive win.
Then, first win, obviously being ranked two ranked teams in this building. Do you guys even care about rankings at this point?
No, we really don't. We love the respect and the disrespect because it keeps us going. The respect is, hey, thank you. The disrespect is like, okay, that's fine as well. So we're going to stay humble, but we're always going to be hungry, and we know what we're playing this season for, and we're not going to let anything distract us.
When you've got a team that the three-point shooting kind of comes and goes game to game, and then it's on like it was tonight, what are the in-game adjustments that you're making, or is that just all within the flow to take advantage of that?
Yeah, I think it's just in the flow of how to take advantage of that. I look at our defense as being the main course, and our shooting as being the dessert. You got to win the game with defense, and if your shooting is on, then you're going to win the game. About 20+ points. Defensively, you can travel with that, and you can win games whether it's by 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you're making shots and defending, it'll be tough to beat.
Coach, right here. 2 questions. The energy, the crowd, everything was basically the same in this game compared to the Clemson game, but what was the biggest takeaway for you in this game?
The biggest takeaway is that, man, we have the energy back in the city. We have the energy back in the building. Just knowing that we haven't scratched the surface yet and we're only going to get better. Man, this is feeling really good. And to answer your question, the biggest takeaway is we have a good opportunity to do something special by watching tonight's game.
And my next question is, there was a moment towards the end of the game where Jaquan Walton went back to the locker room. What's his status or anything that we know of about why he went to the locker room?
I didn't know why he left the court. I didn't ask the trainer. And when I went in the back, he wasn't really ailing or getting any treatment. Could have tweaked an ankle, or it wasn't anything major. So his status is good to go right now for Saturday.
You and Tony shared sort of a extended handshake moment there in front of the table as there was still some time left on the clock and it needed to run off or whatever. You care to share what you guys talked about? Or
Yeah, I told him, fan, always going to be a fan, love his work. He does a phenomenal job with his teams. And he was like, man, you do a phenomenal job, and your team was so athletic. I guess he didn't know from watching the film that we were that athletic. And he was like, man, you guys are so athletic. It kind of shocked him. Maybe it shocked their team. But we're longer than people think. And when you see us in person, we have one of the tallest teams in the country. Outside of JQ, we jump right to like 6'6", and everything else goes up. So with the athleticism, so that's what we said.
Hey, Coach, the flip trips now, but now you're the most hunted guys. How do you make sure your guys stay hungry for the guys who not ranked and coming out there, because they're your Super Bowl coming in, make sure they're focused for every game going forward, because a loss like this will almost eliminate a win like this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just can't. You have to enjoy this, but you can't lose sight. We can never lose sight of Memphis. We just can't, because we know if you let your guard down, then, you drop, you get, people, it just gets really ugly for us. So what makes us guard against that is because we're awake. We know that. And Vandy is very capable because I've seen Jerry win some games on the road that most people didn't have him winning, and he'll win. He'll use motivation, and at any given time, these guys can get hot. So we have to prepare for them. We're going to enjoy this tonight, but we're going to have tomorrow off, start Thursday preparing for them, and be as serious about them as we've been about any team this year.
You mentioned earlier that Naquan Tomlin's basically going to play as soon as he's eligible. Are there any concerns there that he could end up being rushed into the system too quickly, or do you think he's got that under
No, it
control?
doesn't. Because he plays doesn't mean he has to play 20, 30 minutes. Even if it's just to get his feet wet, a couple minutes, just to get that energy. He hasn't played a game in a while. And I'm going to go off his flow. I'm not rushing him out there. If he says he's not ready Saturday, he won't play Saturday. He's like, give me another week. We'll give him another week. This isn't about rushing him back.
And just what do you think of, I guess, the impact that he's going to make? How important is he going to be to this team down the stretch?
That's yet to be seen, but with his talent, you can say he's going to make a huge impact from what we know he's done already, his body of work that has already.
Penny, obviously y'all have come a long way, aside from the court too, like in terms of chemistry and coming together. With Naquan Tomlin not being in the mix, how do you expect that to go?
I think you got to know Naquan just from being around him the last couple of days. He's going to do whatever it takes. If he just has to go out there and rebound and block shots, that's what he'll do. If he has to go out there and post up and make plays, that's what he'll do. If he has to guard 1 through 5, he's just willing to do whatever we need him to do, and that's a beautiful thing.
How have the guys kind of embraced him so far?
Oh, they love it. I mean, they love him because he's just such an easygoing guy. And I asked him how was he doing. He was like, we've been bonding, we've been talking. So he's flowed right in, especially coming in right now. He's flowed right in. Thank you.